we switched up locations, so I thought I wanted to make it a little more roomy for everyone. I got a lot of feedback on people wanting to come, so thank you for the last minute change. I guess if you don't know me, my name is Morgan Owens, and I am the owner and founder of Kirby Cardio, and I am soon to launch, but it has already been going on, my own personal brand, the Morgan Owens brand, that I've done a series of Babes in Business, series of these workshops on public speaking, Beat the Boss, how to do like a 5-minute face before work, or that power meeting, or that interview. We did a public speaking event with Kyla Woods, and I have a whole bunch of good events coming up in the summer. So if you're not already following me on Facebook, Morgan Owens, or Miss Morgan 86 on Instagram, or even the Kirby Cardio page, please make sure you are following me. I wanted to do a series of workshops just to empower people to start their own business or level up in the business you're already in. So that's the whole purpose. And I wanted this workshop to be a more intimate setting where you can have that one-on-one and personal touch, and that's how a lot of these workshops are. So I'm going to introduce our featured speaker. His name is Dr. Odell Owens, if you don't know already. He is a native of Cincinnati. I'm sure we know all his achievements, and one of the things that he's done, I think the most important one was having me. I always say I'm his greatest achievement.
At least the most expensive.
But also, I'm a Pisces, so I'm trying not to cry. He's also one of my biggest mentors. You know he's my dad. I'm ugly crying, don't look at me. Right. I said I was gonna cry. But he's always taught me to be my own boss, so that's why I do what I do. And he doesn't sugarcoat anything, he gives it to me straight. He's gonna give it to y'all straight. He supports my dreams, but he's also realistic because he's been there. So he keeps me humble, but he always teaches me to reach for the stars because, just like everyone, you can do whatever you want if you work hard for it. So, right. But I also want to shout out to my mom. My mom keeps me well-rounded too. We have fun, right, Mom? She's my #1 model for all my gear, either Kirby Cardio or Babes in Business. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Odell Owens.
So again, thank you for being here tonight. And my appreciation for you to come and spend your Thursday evening with me. I'm going to provide 2 tickets for a raffle to Raising the Sun tomorrow night play Shakespeare Theater. I think it's sold out. These are 2 really good seats, so there'll be a raffle in the end. That's coming from me. And my appreciation again for being here. Oftentimes, when I give a talk, I always start, even though the talk may be about one thing, I always start with my learning lessons when I was your corner. For those of you who do or do not know, I was a corner for 7 years. I was the first African American to be the corner in Hampton County. But more importantly, I was the first African American to get elected to any countywide race. And that was in 2004. That's a shame. The county's been here since 18-something, and it took to 2004. But with that, let me just give a little background on that. When I decided to do that, people came up to me and said, "You want to be the corner? It's not prestigious. You want to be the corner? You leave the money on the table by not practicing what you're practicing. You want to be the corner? You can't make it because no African Americans ever won a countywide race. You want to be the corner? You can't make it because you're an infertility specialist, and the current corner, you've been the corner for 10 years, is a forensic pathologist. How can you win?" The reason I ran was 2 reasons. One, they had a scandal in the coroner's office. Coroner, although he said he didn't allow it, his staff allowed a photographer to come into the morgue and take very good pictures of dead people, putting toys on their chests, things like that. Horrible. But more importantly, I ran for because I want the corners off to be my platform. Because I ran on the higher the graduation rate, the lower the homicide rate. And indeed, studies show if you increase your graduation rate 10%, just 10%, you lower your homicide rate by 20%. So again, it's about people telling me no and doing things. But what was my number one learning lesson? I want to share with you first before I get my major talk. What was my number one learning lesson from the coroner's office? People would come in every day, as you can imagine, with tears in their eyes, sadness in their hearts, crying because they lost a loved one. That's what I thought. For months and months, I thought that's why people were crying. Then I learned that most people came here who were crying. People were crying because they couldn't say, Mother, I love you. Father, goodbye. Sister, forgive me. Brother, I forgive you. It was too late. It's one of the ways that death holds the living hostage, because you can't go back. Heal your personal relationships on a daily basis. Heal your personal relationships on a daily basis. My grandfather used to say, tomorrow's not promised. You quickly learn the point that today's not promised for some. I was called to a house in Madisonville. A woman had gone to see her sister. She got to the house, she knocked on the door. Her sister's daughter and her caregiver, because her sister became so sick she needed care 24/7, came to the door and said, look, Mom was not feeling well, no visitors. Sister went home. She came back a week later, giving the same story. She called a week later, same story. She said, something's not right. She called the police. They won't let me see my sister. Something's not right. Police come to the house. They walk through, they go upstairs. They find the sister dead, sitting in the rocking chair. When I got there, I walked there, first thing I noticed how cold this house was. I go upstairs, and there's the sister in the rocking chair, mummified. They told me, they said, look, when she died, we turned the air conditioner off, we haven't turned it off since. So I went back and looked at electricity bills to see the difference in the bills over the years. And the date they told me corresponded to the change in electricity, and she had been dead for 2 years. Whoa. No, your woe should not be that she's been dead for 2 years. Your woe should be the woman said, that's my sister. That means she hasn't seen her sister in 2 years. So whatever the argument, whatever the discourse, it's too late. The prosecutor called me up and said, are we going to prosecute? What do you have that I can prosecute on? I said, there's nothing. There was no money involved. Sister was not getting any kind of check. There was no money involved. She told her daughters, when I die, don't tell anyone. Give me a chance to come back to life. Give me a chance. They love their mother. Well, when that story came out, people called us from all over the world. And people wanted to make a horror story of it, a joke of it, and I wouldn't let them. Because they did it for love. How many of you in this room have lost a loved one, and you thought you heard their voice? You thought you saw them in a crowd. How's it any less? Because of the love you have for them. Heal your personal relationships on a daily basis. Studies would tell me that someone in this room that hasn't made that call, that someone in this room hasn't forgiven, that someone in this room hasn't sought forgiveness, and you probably forgot the reason why you're divorced from that person. But tonight we're going to talk about something more upbeat. But before I start, I want to ask a couple of questions. If you can just volunteer if you like. Tell me, why are you here? What do you want to do? At the end of the hour, spend an hour with me. What do you want to walk out that door with? You want to share why you came, why you decided to spend your money? Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's more or less, I just wanted to hear your story, one-on-one, and just learn how you overcame obstacles in my world, in my business. It's a very, very tough business that I'm in. And sometimes I struggle with, should I stay, should I go? I love what I do.
Okay.
I love my clients. It's just how I do something job.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Who else? Want to share about this? Yes.
So you go through your day-to-day, everyday work, and sometimes you need an inspiration, and I knew I would get that here.
I love this woman. Y'all know what this is? Everybody knows this? Love this. Always consistent. Always for us. Anybody else? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I came because I too wanted to hear your story, but we all struggle with something. And I hope to leave feeling encouraged and empowered to keep pressing through when those difficult times do come.
Okay, good. Hopefully I can do that. Hopefully I can do that. You know, I grew up in the West End of Cincinnati. West End is one of the poorest sections of the city at that time. You know, we were poor, but I really didn't know we were really poor because we were clean. We were reverent. We said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. And we respected adults. You know, when people think about being poor, poor is that niche, maybe a state. Doesn't mean you're going to always be there. You start out there. As I said, you know, we lived in an apartment. We didn't have a house, but we had a home. Had a mother, had a father, 3 brothers, 3 sisters, all of us in 4 rooms. Don't tell me how we did it. But there was a family down the street, had 15 kids. They had much more room than we did. But you know, we didn't feel that same sense of stress, and certainly not the sense of shame, because as I said, we were clean, we were reverent, we were respectful, we went to school, we went to church. And I grew up in the old system where on Sunday, if you didn't go to Sunday school, you didn't play that day. And I don't know, some of y'all ain't have to do into that. But you know, to me, I always like this time of the year, Easter. Because if you're old school, what would happen on Easter is that your parents would buy you a brand new suit, brand new shoes. So your Sunday shoes became your school shoes, rotating. And then in the summer, my mother would buy that $1.99 Red Ball Jets gym shoes, and that lasts you for the whole summer. Time they got the holes in it, time to go back to school. I had a suspicion we were poor when I turned on the TV and saw Leave It to Beaver. Because first of all, they had an upstairs. Wally had a room, Beaver had a room. My mother was a person that was very strict, but very loving. My mother did not finish high school, neither did my father. But my mother kept her report cards. She was a straight A student. And she said, you, my children, will do better. You will finish school. And you have to understand that as a child in that time here in Cincinnati, the West End, finishing high school was major. It was almost tantamount to going to college in terms of the number of people. There were very few people in the neighborhood who had finished high school. Very few. So my mother said, you're going to finish. My mother, boy, she would go to every parent-teacher conference. My wife had a teacher conference tonight. I don't know how many parents showed up. I'll have to ask her later. But my mother never missed. And the teacher said, well, Odell got a C because that's the best she could do. She hugged me. But if she said he got a C because he was cutting up, acting up, she would express her dissatisfaction on a certain part of my anatomy that I remember the next 2 days. But she hugged me. She would spank, and then she would hug. That's a real difference. And people who sometimes spank and don't hug, she spanked. Now, yeah, she would get that old, tired line. It hurts me more than you. I was burning. But first, let me tell you a little bit about spanking etiquette. When your parents spank you, keep your mouth shut. I made the mistake of always saying, Mama, I won't do it again. Well, that just guaranteed you 5 more swats. Yes, I know you're not going to do it again. Shouldn't have done it in the first place. So first thing, keep your mouth shut. If you're going to fake your tears, wait till your mother leaves the room. My mother used to spank us with newspaper. Myself and my 2 sisters who were older, she spanked us with newspaper. Of course, we cried. She walked out of the room, we stopped. But one day she spanked us. I stopped. They kept crying. I'm like, why y'all crying? Y'all know it didn't hurt. And I turned around. Yes, she was. She said, you just advanced to the belt. My mother died suddenly one night. At 29, she dropped dead. Literally dropped dead. Leaving 7 kids. 8 months to 12. I was number 2. Our life just spun. My father had an 8th grade education. It was my mother who could take that dollar and make it walk. It was my mother to take that dollar and turn it to $1.10. My father couldn't. He had his demons. Some were in the bottle. Most of us on a gambling table. Our life just spun out of control. We eventually went on welfare, and all of a sudden, I was that kid getting that basket of Thanksgiving. And you know, I grew up with my mother always asking for that candy to take to school to give to the poor kids. And then we became poor kids. I hated it. We were on welfare. On welfare, they give you that block of cheese in the old days. They give you canned meat that was round. So if you saw somebody with a hand-sliced round meat, mystery meat, and some cheese, they were on welfare, I wouldn't take a lunch to school. I wouldn't do it. I was too embarrassed. My mother had carved a certain sense in me. You see, I had my first job when I was 8 years old. I used to get on the bus on Saturday morning. I ride a bus over to what's called the 7th Street Market. It was like a Finley Market, but it was on 7th Street. Same setup, but a bigger meat house, sawdust on the floors. I worked for Cerese's. I sold fruits and vegetables on Saturday. I got paid $5. I come home, my mother would say, well, if you're going to buy clothes, you keep the $5. If you're going to buy candy, go to Reds game, give me half for rent. I would always say, do you have change? Because I'm going to buy that bottle of RC and go to a Reds game. But she just gave me some strength. But when she was gone, my North Star was gone. I remember the summer before she died, the mothers were outside. And they were mumbling and smiling because her best friend's daughter had just gotten to Walnut Hills. And again, I want you to understand, it's different than it is today. There were very, very few blacks in Walnut Hills. You just didn't go there. Her daughter had passed the test. And everyone on the street was excited. We didn't have the kind of jealousy you may find today in the neighborhood. They were excited for her. And I remember looking up to my mother and telling my mother, I'll pass that test for you. I'll do it for you. I passed that test in June. She died in August. Life tumbled. There was a period of time we didn't have electricity. We would have to go walking to a gas station and get kerosene lamp in our house. People, we having barbecue ribs on 4th of July. We had barbecue neck bones, beans. Life was tough. Life was tough. People say to me, what helped me? Well, in the early days, I went to church on Sunday, the Sunday school, Bible class on Wednesday, prayer service on Thursday. It was a little bit of that religious background that cemented me, and a desire that I wanted more that my mother had put in me. At the end of the 8th grade, I was called into the principal's office at Walnut Hills. He said, Odell, you have flunked the 8th grade. You got two choices. You can stay here, go to summer school and take 2 classes and come back and repeat the 8th grade, or go to summer school, take 2 classes and go to 9th grade and move. I said goodbye. I'll go to 9th grade. I don't want anybody to know if I have flunked the 8th grade. I got to Woodward, and the counselor, and that time again, things were different. At Woodward, there were very few blacks. When I finished Woodward, in my senior class of 650 kids, there were only 50 blacks in the senior class. So y'all can see how different Woodward is now. So when I started, I was in classes oftentimes with no black. So the counselor made it on my schedule. She said, you're going to take 9th grade English, and you're going to take shop. Shop is a class where you learn to make tables and ashtrays. And after you make tables and ashtrays, you make bigger tables and ashtrays. I said, okay. So your 3rd class is going to be 9th grade history. Your next 4th class would be shop. Your 5th class is going to be art. And your 6th class would be shop. I said, shop. I said, wait. I said, look, I need to have algebra and biology because I want to go to college. So I need to get that so I can, she said, boy, you just flunked out of Walnut Hills. And she says, I see here your family's on welfare. You're too poor. In essence, too stupid to go to college. She told me, boy, make something of yourself. Take this shot. I begged her. A little kid in the 9th grade, I begged her, please. Because I knew that was my salvation. I knew that was my salvation. She said, okay, it's your funeral. Go ahead and take it. I shared the story. When I was born, I gave 150 talks a year for 7 years. In prisons, in schools, boys club, girls club, any place that young people gathered to work with them and to work with adults, to tell adults to get back. And when I tell the story, the room is quiet. In the toughest schools, it's quiet because it's real. They all would then say to me, did you ever go back and do this? I I said no. You see, being here is my payback. Being here is my payback. So few people who are successful ever get their dues stamped, paid in full. Mine is not. So I keep paying back. I keep paying back. I went on to Antioch College. I was lucky enough to get a scholarship. I knew some people, and they worked with me. And my father was going to go to Detroit. And my grandmother in Detroit said, look, move to Detroit. Odell can finish high school here in Detroit and get a job at Ford and have a great life. The people I worked for here, I was their babysitter, the grass cutter, their yard cleanup-er, the house cleaner. Anything they wanted, I did. I was their caddy, everything. They paid me, and I needed the money, believe me. They said, no, we see something in Odell. We want him to stay with us his last 2 years. So my father agreed. Leave me behind. Changed my life. This was a family that was just incredible. He was a physician, Cincinnati's first black surgeon, Dr. Clinton Howard Buford. His wife was a social worker at Children's Hospital, Catherine Buford. Her brother was Ben Clement, his surgical partner, who was a surgeon. Catherine, the mother, she had 3 brothers who had PhDs and a sister who had a PhD, Dr. Vera Edwards. Dr. Edwards was the first black to get a PhD at the University of Cincinnati. I had a wonderful opportunity when I was chairman of the board of the University of Cincinnati. We'll get to there. But when I became chairman of the board of the University of Cincinnati, I dedicated the Vera Edwards buildings. When you go to the University of Cincinnati, the Edwards building is named after a black woman. You can count on one hand the number of buildings on a white campus named after a black woman. The family was incredible. They never talked about college. It was all about expectations that helped change my life. So I went off to Antioch. My first 2 days at Antioch, went to the orientation about pre-med. Me said, if anybody want to go to medical school, come to the orientation. I was the only black in the room, and they talked about what courses you're going to take. They talked about what medical schools typically took students from Antioch. What was your grade point at? They have at least 3.2 to go to medical school. I'm walking out the door, and he grabs me and pulls me back into the room. Let all the white kids leave. And then he said, but you will need at least a 3.4 if you want to go. People said to me, well, did you get angry? Did you get mad? No. That was normal. We knew that. We grew up in a society for blacks who wanted to do that, knowing they had to be the Superman or Superwoman. We knew at that time in the 60s and 70s, we had to be better just to be equal. We had to be better just to be equal. It hasn't changed a whole lot today. Now, people say, what do you mean? I saw a statistic yesterday that's bothering the hell out of me. That's bothering the hell out of me. And that is on infant mortality rate. Black women with a college degree have a higher infant mortality rate than a white woman on public insurance. Black women on private insurance have a higher infant mortality rate than a white woman on public insurance. Why is that? I'm going to work on that. That's what really bothers me. Back to that, you got to be better than be equal. You know, most people, when they plan graduate school, medical school, you start as a junior. You say, okay, I got to make this plan. No. Those days, I started as a freshman. I sat down and wrote out a plan. I said, okay, I'm going to be active on campus for the first year, do a lot of activities, and then just really book. And then I'm going to go abroad in my 3rd year, and I'm going to create on paper the super nigga. That's what, I planned that. So the first year I was in student government, I was a DJ. I was 00 soul. Maybe put a slide in your glass. I put it in your liver. If you don't like this 45, baby, you don't eat fried chicken on Sunday. Those days, DJs had to earn your crowd and talk to stuff. So I did that, studied, got a 3.8. 3rd year, went abroad, lived in Uganda for 1 year. I lived in Uganda when Uganda was raw. Uganda was only independent about 5 years. But all that played out because I went when I applied to medical school, I applied to, in essence, 10 schools. Yale was one of them. Harvard, Case Western were my top 3 choices. Harvard rejected me. Case Western, when I went there, they accepted me the day that I got there for the interview, gave me a scholarship the same day. So I withdrew from the other 7. I said, I'll wait to hear from Yale, so I withdrew from the others. Now, let me tell you about that. In the last week or so, you've read about African Americans, the guy at GE, where his sons, 4 of them, all got into Harvard and Yale, but also they showed them got into 20 other schools. I saw a thing last night about a girl who's gotten into about 11. For African Americans, that's a negative. Why? Once you know you're not going to go to a certain school behind you, withdraw. Because in those days, if you didn't, they would go accept you and then tell their community, well, we accepted 10 blacks, only 2 showed up. Only 2 took us. So what you want to do, if you're not going to go there, withdraw so you can't be that statistic holding somebody else up. So then I went for an interview at Yale. Yale had 7,000 applications for 100 spots. How do they decide? Grades, everybody's got 3.8, 4.0, 4.4. Most of those kids have been involved in research. So when I went in, I had a pamphlet I had written. I'd written a thing when I was in college about being in pre-med that got published by Antioch College. I spent my year in Uganda. So they all want to talk about, oh, you lived in Africa, what was that like? And I tell the story how a lion almost got me, how a hippo almost got me. It's true stories, folks, true stories. I stepped on a cobra snake one night. So they're going to remember you. Personality. Personality. So what does that mean? I walked in that room with confidence. I was not intimidated. Because one, I had the Case Western already accepted me. So worse off, I'm going to go to Case Western, one of the top medical schools in the country. So one of the first about confidence, being prepared. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe in the Oprah Winfrey, where opportunity meets preparation. Where opportunity meets preparation. So I accepted Yale. Got there, and they said, well, we have this special program that if you want to do a second degree at the same time, you can do it for free. I heard free, 2 degrees for free, 1 for free. So I was already on a scholarship, so I decided to get my master's in public health at the same time. During that time period, I was in medical school, doing 2 degrees. I was president of my class, captain of the medical school basketball team, and member of the board of trustees of Antioch College while I was in medical school. Now, the difference is, was I super smart? No. No. There were kids in my class that were super smart. There were kids in my class who wrote the chapters on physics for encyclopedia. Bright kids, but no common sense. I want you to understand. I said, bright, but no common sense. There were kids in my class that had never been on a date, had never kissed a girl. Well, again, black people were more social. I had kissed a girl.
Better than my mama.
What I mean by that is that in medical school, for the first 2 years, you're going to find us across the country. The first 2 years of medical school, African Americans tend to be in the middle of the class, few at the top, but most in the middle. The last 2 years is all clinical. We're at the top. Why? Because we can walk into the room. Hi, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, how are you feeling today? Tell me about that. Where the kids who are from Columbia, Yale, and Harvard, take out their little book, their little checklist. We show our personality comes out, our common sense. Because in medicine, you're given a lot of data. You got to narrow it down. That's an advantage of being an African American. It's a real advantage. But what happens though, again, because of the time period, there was a sense that the faculty was like, are you here because you're black? Or are you here because of you're smart? Okay. So they all looked down on us. No one respected us. I said, okay. So 2 things happened. I used to carry a 3x5 card. If I heard a drug, I heard a disease, I heard a medical term I didn't know, I wrote it down. I did not go to bed until I looked those things up. White kids can do it. We can't. We can't. Then we had rounds. You've seen rounds on TV, where the red coats walk, come to a patient. Now, the student who's responsible for that patient is the one supposed to get the answers. They have the chart, not other people on the team. They can ask you maybe some general questions, but the pressure is on the one who's patient. Not for the black kids. If that was your patient, I better know your patient because they're going to come and ask me a question. Sure enough, they did. So I said, okay, I'm going to get even. So what I did, I went and bought a British textbook. We used the American, I bought the British. The British people were, in their country, they're more about physical diagnosis. They didn't have the fancy equipment we had. So they tend to want to look at your veins in your neck and how they pulse. Look at your fingernails and be able to tell if you have certain diseases that color your nails and ridges in your nails. So I learned some of that stuff. But what I did, I learned this one controversial thing. I memorized on purpose the page, paragraph, and the sentences that I'm going to give them. So one day, the professor stepped into my trap. I said, but Professor, he had the Ouija sign. He said, the Ouija sign? I never heard of a Ouija sign. I said, it was on, and you got to get to the move. Flexer's textbook, page 97, second paragraph, third and fourth word. He turned to a medical student and said, go library, get that book. Brought the book back, they said, page 97, second paragraph, third and fourth word. So the word got around Yale, don't mess with Odell. That's what they said was, don't mess with that nigga, he got a photographic memory. But again, what does that mean? I took them on, but I had that card. You just can't be cocky. I went to bed and I stayed. So what happened, I took their prejudice and turned it into my strength. Now, there were some blacks who just got destroyed. They got so upset, they flipped out. We had one who just really flipped out. He could not handle this from Harlem. He just couldn't handle that. But I understood that. Because I had come through that system, through Woodward, through Walnut Hills, through Antioch College. They can do things that we can't. But again, because of our personality and our engagement, patients love us. Patients love us. So now, I finished medical school, now it's time to do your training, OBGYN. Medical school is 100 spots. OBGYN residency, 6 spots. So you have 100 people applying for 6 spots. So Yale has 6 spots for OB, applied for there, applied to Harvard, applied to a place in California. Harvard ranked me #1. They wanted me, I was #1, but I turned them down. Turned me down, I'm turning you down. Boy, that felt good. Stayed at Yale, did my residency. When I finished the residency, I was given the award as the most outstanding chief resident. And again, it's very interesting, because I would walk into a room and white patients would be, you look too young. I was young looking, but they were concerned because we were black. When you look at medicine and the Ivy League schools, the last specialty that your most famous hospitals allowed a black man to come into was OBGYN. They did not want you to examine black women. They said black men would just go crazy. It's really white men who goes crazy. And I'll tell you a story about that. But for me, again, I didn't let that bother me, because I knew that. So you looked at me and gave me a look, I said, okay, I'm going to kill you with kindness. Right. You got 3 patients in the room, we all got a medical student. Your medical student comes and sees you once a day, just on morning rounds. I'm seeing you 3 times a day. Now you're wondering why he's staying on top of your case. I'm smiling, you're smiling now, your family comes in the evening. They say, oh, Dr. Owens taking good care of us. Dr. Owens taking good care of us. It made me a better physician. So when I finish now, I'm going to do a fellowship. Fellowship, there are 2 spots. 2 spots. Usually about 25 people. So I applied for the spot at Harvard and got it. When I got there, they said, yeah, we remember you turned us down. I said, yeah, it's in the past. We're cool. First African American to do that. So now I'm the first African American there. Is it any different? And then all the stuff behind me, double degrees, all. No. I'm an African American. So one night, one of the female residents had a tubal pregnancy in her tube. And she called for me. She said, I know you went to Yale, and I know at Yale they do a technique where you can save my tube. I said, yes. And I can do it through your belly button. You'll be back to work in 2 days. Well, people at Harvard say, oh, no, we a decision, and she's out for 8 weeks, and we take the tube out. If you leave that tube, it will close up, or she has a risk of another pregnancy in that tube. I said, no, we did this technique again. She said, please do it for me. I operated. 6 weeks later, we did a dye test, tube is open. So now I did a procedure, the old nigga did a procedure never done in Harvard, never done in Boston. Everybody backed off. My professor said he had a case of a tubal reversal. Woman had her tubes tied, decided she changed her mind. He said, come on, scrub in with me. I said, as a fellow, you scrub with your professor. So I scrubbed in with him. They blocked the OR for 5 hours. So we do this. So I go back, because I have my own private patients within this training program. And I told the OR, I said, okay, I got my tubes, I got 2 of them, and I want to do them back to back. He said, oh no, we don't do that here. 5 hours? I said, look, I'll do 2 in 5 hours. They said, but you're the fellow. He's the professor. I said, yeah, but at Yale we did this a lot. I said, okay. Sure enough, I did 2 in 4 hours. So I was the only one allowed to do that. So all of a sudden, people begin to say, your skill. So you let your skill rise above that. Don't let people pull you down. When they pull you down, you're going to get negative. I need to be positive. But you got to first start with some basic. What's the basic? You asked about the one-on-one. First thing you got to do is love yourself. Have confidence in yourself. But understand you're not a perfect person. I am not perfect. I make mistakes, will continue to make mistakes. But I'll recognize them, try to learn from them. And there's some things I can't. I'm not a great forgiver. I'm not a great forgiver. My arms are open to everybody. But if you cross me, it's a hard thing to forgive. Okay, I'll work on that. I'll work on that. But you got to first start with confidence in yourself, a vision. When I was in college, I wrote on a piece of paper, only you can stop you. I put it on my mirror. Put it on my mirror in medical school. So, for me, in medical school, I was telling you earlier, I wasn't super smart, but I was dedicated. I was disciplined. From Monday to Thursday, we would finish class at 5 o'clock. We started at 8 o'clock. So our class went from 8 to 5, 40 hours of class a week in medical school, sometimes 44. I would finish at 5, 5:30, eat dinner. At 7 o'clock, I'm in the library from 7 to 11. 4 hours every night. At 10 minutes to 7, if Halle Berry would knock on my door, I'd say, Halle, we got 10 minutes. Well, I lied. Halle, I give her 20. But it's about discipline. It's about discipline. On Friday, I took off. Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. I didn't sleep late. Same thing I was in college. My friends would get high, smoke weed. I didn't smoke weed at Antioch. I made a decision of what I wanted. And the weed smokers in college slept late and missed classes. I'll tell you the truth. They slept late and missed classes. I studied every Saturday at 8 o'clock at Yale Medical School, 8 to 12. On Sunday from 2 to 6 in the afternoon. That's how I got through. Discipline, willing to make a sacrifice. The main thing, and for women, you got to line yourself up with people who are going to support you. Line yourself up with a male partner who's going to support you. If you're trying to go this way, and they're pulling you by either, no, let's party. Why are you doing this? Give me some of that money. And you're trying to put that little money away and they're going to work and they want to pull that money to their pocket, let it go. There are 6.8 billion people in the world. Can't find that one? Can't find that one? It's out there. Everything in life is timing. Everything in life is timing. But you get, when I met my wife, I decided she was the one for me. I was a poor medical student. I remember going to the pawn shop, trading in my microscope, because I was a senior, didn't need a microscope anymore. Traded my microscope in for an engagement ring. It wasn't a big ring, had a little flaw in it, but she was happy to get it. I didn't realize it was a temporary ring. She waited. She waited. She's still here? She's gone, okay. Big old ring now. But with her, I told her, I said, you know, if you marry me, you got to understand that you may get up, go to hairdresser, buy a new dress, we get ready, we're going out tonight, we're going to party, and the phone rings. Dr. Owens, we need you in the emergency room. I'm gone. Can't be tears or upset. If you can't handle that, we can't get married. Lay that on the table. Same thing in relationship today. If you got a partner, tell them, this is what I need from you. You get this skill. Boy, you're really good at accounting. I want you to help me with accounting. That's what I want you to do. We're going to be together, but I got to have this. And I need you. When I need you, I need you. One thing I love about one of Morgan's t-shirts, she said, I'm here to sweat, not to flirt. Or I'm about to flirt, not to sweat. What is
Here
that?
to work, not flirt.
Right. I love it. That's what it's about. You go there, you work out, you're not there. At that point, in that room, you're exercising. You're not there to flirt. It's about business. But you got to align yourself with people, both men and women, that are going to support you. If you don't, cut them loose. It's painful. I know what you're going to say. It's painful. Well, if I don't have them, I'm not going to have anybody. But if you got someone that's pulling on you, taking you down, you ain't got anybody. That's right. Let me tell you, it's a corner. Please we get a phone call. My friend can't breathe. They overdosing. My friend can't breathe. When the police gets to the scene, there's nobody there. That person who you said was your best friend didn't even hold you while you were dying. Didn't even give you CPR. They grabbed the dope and the money and they left. But they called you, that's my boy, that's my dog, that's my best friend. Yes. But you stay on that floor and die. So let me tell you, no. Hook yourself up with people. I'm telling you. Be willing to share. You know, sometimes you'll be in this room and maybe two of you may have the same idea. You can either one of you is quite there. Be willing to come together. You know, one of the things for you who you were in business and want to go into business. One thing I want you to start watching each week, so don't laugh, I want you to watch Shark Tank. I want you to watch Shark Tank every week. Because what you're going to hear is how they critique a business and how they make decisions if they're going to buy or not buy. And sometimes 2 or 3 sharks will buy the business. Because the one woman says, I can get you on QVC. The brother says, I can get the license. Other guy said, I can do the software. So sometimes you may not have everything, but be willing to partner. You don't always got to be greedy. And it's not giving up something. You're gaining. You're not giving up something. You are gaining something when you start to share. Each of you have a talent. Everyone in this room is a role model, first of all. Everybody in this room has a unique talent. The skill is to pay attention to what your talent is. And then cultivate it. Very few people have raw talent. Singers do. Even some of your best singers need to have some lessons. How to take care of the throat. How to hit certain notes. But you all got skill. Now, there's another part of me. I'm the longest serving director of U.S. Bank. Major companies have board of directors. They run the companies. Whether it be Google, Apple, there's a board that hires the president. We started out here in Cincinnati at Star Bank. It was an $8 billion bank. Today, we're U.S. Bank. We're a $460 billion bank. We're the 5th largest financial institution in the country. People all the time say, now how the hell did Odell get on the board and then survive? Because most directors don't stay that long. Through those acquisitions to grow, people will be let go and people will come on. But I survived. First black to be on a major board in Cincinnati. Now what qualified me for that? Well, first of all, they wanted me because they need help with the community. And being a physician, they wanted some consciousness. But when you're on a board, you learn financially if you pay attention. Every board meeting I go to, I pay attention and I take those skills and bring it back to whatever job I have. Whether it be the coroner's office, Cincinnati State, Health Department, or where I'm now as president of Interact for Health. You learn about the finances. Typically, people want to run from that. Don't run from that. Learn it. Learn what happens on the board. Learn about advertising. You can learn all these things by serving on a board. And most boards you're going to get on be nonprofits, but you can still learn from that. Get on a board and learn. You're going to learn the skill of business, but pay attention. Just don't pay attention to what they're doing in terms of social service, but understand the mechanism, how they get their money, how they're spending their money, how they're marketing, who's their competition, how they handle their competition. Those are things you're going to learn. You're going to put into your business. You got to wake up every day reading the newspaper. Reading the newspaper because that's your university. being out there in life. You bring a lot to the table, you got a lot inside you, but you got to work on it. I tell young people all the time, if you want to be successful and you're in high school and you're not doing something on Saturday and Sunday, you're not going to make it. It's the better kids that read their books on Saturday and Sunday, reviewing what they learned the past week. Same thing for adults. You got to put the time in. You got to make that sacrifice, and things will happen. But even when you do that, like I said, I came back to Cincinnati, started the first in vitro program. I created Cincinnati's first test tube baby, first pregnancy for frozen embryo. Helped the Cincinnati Zoo create the world's first and only in vitro gorilla. One has been done in the history of the world, right here in Cincinnati, and I helped. Yet when I opened my doors, here I am, a Yale, Harvard trained physician, skilled in surgical procedures. Even today, I haven't practiced. There are at least 12 procedures that no one else in Cincinnati can do. They're gone because I don't practice anymore. And yet people walked into my office, who were white, unfortunately, saw that I was black, turned around and walked out. Turned around and walked out. People say to me, did that bother you? No. No. Why? Because I've been through that. And then when I looked up, I was seeing 15 new patients a week. It took you 2 months to get to see me. Why am I getting upset because someone react to the color of my skin? And then I got on TV, and people knew I was black, so that stopped. Bob Braun's show helped me. Ira Joe Fisher. Bob Braun brought me on 20-something times. Ira Joe Fisher brought me on 15. And then Sally Jesse Raphael, I don't know if you remember her, the red glasses. She brought 3 gynecologists on her show. At the end of the show, she said, "You're my man." She would walk out and say, "I hate doctors, but I love this man." My phone would ring off the hook from around the country. I remember being in California one day, and an elderly white woman came up to me, and she said, "I know you." I looked at her name tag, and I said, "Well, no, I've never been to Idaho." She said, "No, I've seen you on TV. My daughter and I wish that you could be our gynecologist." I was so touched I could have cried. Here's the power of TV. They could take me across the country as a black man into the most sensitive residency where a woman and her daughter say, "I want that man to be my gynecologist." So what does that say? It talks about skill, personality. You can overcome that. Those who taking notes, take this one down. Never let your past dictate your future, but let it be a part of you. Never let your past dictate your future, but let it be a part of you. Young kids would say to me all the time, "Well, boy, was going to Yale or Harvard hard?" No, being poor was hard. Learning every nerve muscle in the body, was that hard? No. Having no electricity. Being teased by other kids. Oh, I hit rock bottom once. People on the bus, you know how mean kids can be. I caddied for Dr. Buford, his brother. He gave me a pair of his golf shoes. So I took the money that I made from caddying, went over to the shoe store, had him pull out the spikes and put on it. So I needed some shoes. They still look like golf shoes. Everybody teased me. Everybody teased me. Had a little raggedy coat. Got teased. So bad that one day I said, you know, I'm going downtown to steal my coat. Department store was called Shoulders over the time. And then Lazarus. So I said, but I'm not going to get caught. Went in my coat, took all my little transfers in those days, and some lint and a little dirt. My plan was to go into the store, rub some dirt on the coat, throw the transfers in the pocket, and if I'm stopped, hey, this is old coat. I got to the door, and I heard my mother, my grandmother say, "You weren't raised that way. You weren't raised that way." I turned around and went home. It snowed that night. It snowed. It was a heavy snowstorm. I got up at 7 o'clock that morning, put on my gym shoes, and had my boots, put on my gym shoes, and went out and I shuffled sidewalks and driveways all over. Some people gave me 50 cents. Some gave me $1. Good shovel, I got $2. Next day I went down to the store on Rockdale and Burnett, where he sold clothes that got from stores that had closed. You could buy stuff cheap. It was like Ben's downtown, but it was in Avondale. And I bought my coat. It wasn't fancy, it was mine. It wasn't like everybody else's, that I could go to bed not wearing it. Those would be knocking the door. Those of you who may be spiritual or spiritual not, look at it as being very spiritual. Snowstorm. But it taught me at that moment that I could do for myself. And I had to do for myself. No excuses. I had to work for it, save for it. That's why I appreciate everything I have today. I truly appreciate the life that I live today. Because I know where I came from. And that's why I work so hard to get back. We've lived in Avondale for 45 years. We just moved to Amberley. I had a chance to live in Indian Hill, Hyde Park. Looked at the house in Indian Hill and decided, no, that's not where I want to be. That's not where I want to be. I want to be where I can be involved with Cincinnati. So I got to live in Cincinnati. I want to tell you that each of you have a story. You see, I'm not the diamond in the rough. I want you to understand that I am not the diamond in the rough. I am the rough. I am the rough. All you got to do is just rub a little bit. There's so many kids out there, but all you got to do is just rub them, touch them, and they'll blossom. Just like you, people will help you and touch you. There's talent in this room. I mean, if not, who would have told Odell in the 8th grade that you would one day do all these things? You can't predict that. Who, and you can't predict where you're going to be in 3 years or 5 years. Things will happen for you. Somebody here may win the lottery. I'm going to be damn mad, but I want to win. But you may win the lottery and change your life. Somebody may step up and realize your talent. Someone said, boy, I'm going to give you a big order for sweets because your stuff is so good, I already taste that brownie. It is. And your life changes in a moment. But you got to be prepared. But you got to first have confidence in yourself. So you got to have confidence in yourself that, hey, what I bake is the best. And I'm willing to run and work at it. Just like when I was in medical school. You know, medical school, think about the time. High school, 12 years. College was 5 years ago. I spent 1 year in Africa. But I finished in 4, but couldn't graduate. I didn't want to graduate because of the time the Vietnam War was going on. If you graduated too soon, they drafted you. Then 5 years of medical school, I got the master's at the same time. 4 years of a residency, 2 years of a fellowship. I didn't finish and start my career until I was 32 years old. 32. It didn't matter. I was prepared to live life. And as a physician, you catch up very quickly to those people who finish high school and work, people who went to college and work. You catch up very quickly. So be willing to make the work. Don't be looking at it as a week or a month down the road. It's day by day. Day by day. Don't try to say, oh, that's too hard. No. Because all of you have got something in your life that you've overcome. All of you have been through some rough bump in the road and you survived. Not because you're here. You're not dead. You're not in jail. You're here. In today's society, that says a lot. But you can't give up. If you give up on your dream, you give up on yourself. And no one's going to believe me if you don't believe in yourself. Now again, when we say you can be anything you want, I want to be realistic. That doesn't mean you can be anything you want. But it means if you're realistic in what you want, you can get it. And then you build on it. You build on it. You know, I would see young people all the time saying, oh, I want to learn how to repair a car. I said, yes, and the other thing you need to do is learn how to own your own shop. A woman would tell me, I want to be a hairdresser. I said, yes, then learn to own your own shop. Take business. Don't learn styling. You got your mind has to grow. You want to own your own business. Or partner with someone just like you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop at this point and I'll take questions on anything I've talked about, anything you want to know about.
You talked about, rubbing the kids, you are the rough. Do you remember like anybody in education that really did it for you, like that really made you keep going? And if so, what did they do? Like what was different about them?
Well, see, for me it was a little different. The real turning point, again, I flunked out of Walnut Hills. Now, the reason I flunked out of Walnut Hills, and most people in this room can relate to it, is that if a younger brother or sister got sick, I had to stay home. You miss a day at Walnut Hills, you miss a week. I just couldn't get to school. Some days it wasn't even bus money. There was no lunch money. I just couldn't get to school. But no one looked at that. They just looked at days and said, these dogs, they're not here. When I went over to Woodward, I told you, very, very few blacks. I was in 9th grade English. Now, I had gone to summer school 2 years in a row for English, 7th and 8th grade summer school for English. I'm sitting there in this 9th grade English class. Unfortunately, this white girl was up to the teacher. My chair is near the teacher's desk, and she said, "I'm in the wrong section." She said, "Why?" She said, "Well, there are 2 blacks in here. This must be the slow section." And I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, man, you don't know me." I had no right to be indignant because I've been in summer school for 2 years. But the teacher said, "No, you're in the right class, have a seat." I said to myself then, I'm going to get a better grade than that girl. By mid-semester, I was the only person in the class with an A. The only one with an A. And it felt so good. I said, well, damn, you get an A on a couple other things. And then I realized I had nothing. I was poor, I had nothing, but I had this. And no one could take this. So Willie wasn't an educator. I was blessed to go to Sands Elementary, and we had all black teachers for the most part, who were dedicated black teachers. It was a Mr. Hill who taught science, who started to have an after-school program. He didn't have to do that. He started an after-school program, and that just, I think, really helped me build my sense of science. Working for Cerise's on Saturdays, selling fruits and vegetables. And then when they folded, my father bought a raggedy truck, and we went around on Sundays from the neighborhood selling fruits and vegetables. I had to count in my head. I had to have that heft weight, learn what 2 pounds felt before I put it on the scale. And so all those things were additive. But it was that girl, and I know her name, and I've seen her since I've been back, but I decided I wouldn't embarrass her. But that was the motivation to turn me. The person looked at me, didn't know me, and reacted to my color and said, because you're brown, you're dumb.
You think it made a difference having black teachers?
In the earlier years, yes. Although my kindergarten teacher was white and I loved her, I fell in love with her. And when I came back to Cincinnati at 32 years old, I went and found her and thanked her for setting me on that path of education. And she cried, and I cried. Found her in Indiana. No, we had dedicated teachers at Sands. That made a difference. They cared. They worked with us. Yes, I do think in those earlier years, but really, it's really, young black kids don't see coming to 3rd grade. They don't react to about 3rd grade when people all of a sudden begin to catch on what's going on. So young kids respond to what you give them, whether you're black or white. A lot of white people say, well, I don't want to go there because I'm white. No, young kids will love you if you come there with love.
Thank you.
What made you come back? I mean, doing all of that, what made you want to come back to Cincinnati? Like, what? I would have just never thought you would have even come back here.
Well, okay.
I mean, because
No.
If you had the option.
Well, my choices were when I finished my fellowship, I could go back to Yale for a job or stay in Boston and have a job at Mass General Hospital. But Boston was a place at that time they just started busing. And so if a white couple invited us to their house for dinner, I had to tell them when I would arrive so they could meet me at the curb to walk me to their house. If not, I might get beat up before getting to their house. Boston was a hot spot. So I wanted to raise a family in that kind of environment. Going back to Yale, Yale wasn't going to pay very much money. Connecticut was expensive. The good thing about Cincinnati, when I started reading the statistics, at that time when I look at the homicides, most of the homicides were not about innocent people. Cincinnati to me had, I have family here, my wife's from Indiana, it was the best of both worlds. And the University of Cincinnati did not have a specialist like me. This is a very new specialty. So I was able to start the first division of reproductive endocrinology here. So it offered me a chance to build my own program. And I did that for 4 years and then went to practice. But it's sort of interesting, when I was doing this, again, came to the University of Cincinnati, they wanted me, they hired me. My chairman calls me to the office one day, and they said, seems to me like you're traveling a lot, speaking. Well, academic people travel and speak. He said, I don't think you were here yesterday. I said, no, I was here yesterday. I said, yesterday, I saw 18 patients. I did 5 operations. Gave a talk in Birmingham, Alabama last night, and I'm back here this morning. What's the problem? Oh. Called me to his office. Well, we had a reception last night. You weren't here. I said, okay. I said, yesterday, I did an in vitro at 4 o'clock in the morning because I would see my first patients at 6:30. So to get that, and in vitros, You can't just pre-schedule it. They ready to happen, you gotta be prepared. You get 24 hours notice. So we did those at 4 o'clock. We knew we'd be available. So at 4 o'clock, I did that, saw my patients. I was just too tired to come. I said to him, who else wasn't there in the department? He said, I don't know. I said, oh, he looked around, didn't see my little black face. I pulled no punches, and you calling me out. So I told him, I walked in his office, I said, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go to private practice. He looked at me and he said, oh, if you go to private practice, you'll be just another black doctor down the street. You won't be successful. I looked at him and said, I'm seeing 15 new patients a week. I'm financially carrying this department. And you think I'm not gonna be successful? I don't. How busy I was when I was at the university. It didn't go down, it went up. But even that, at that point, you would think that you reach a pinnacle. And it never stops. When I was at Cincinnati State, I went to Cincinnati State. When I got there were 45 high school kids taking college courses. When I left, 2,000. Had my own high school on campus. First community college to have its own high school on campus. I was the only college president, again, I'm new, 5 years there, only college president to get 2 recognitions from the White House in 5 years. In the country, only 2. I was the only one that got 2. We brought in $125 million in outside grants in 5 years. Those kind of numbers are for a 4-year school, not a community college. But there were 2 white people on the board that just couldn't, they wanted to control me. And people have a hard time dealing with a successful black man. You know, either have a hard time with that successful black man or it's that angry black woman. So they called me in and said, well, you know, we don't think you raised enough money last year. I said, wow, you've given me a bonus every year of at least $50,000. And in fact, last year you gave me $55,000 and I gave it back because the other staff didn't get a raise. Only the union people got a raise. I wouldn't take it. I said, now we agreed in my contract that I would raise 1.2. I brought in 1.6. So how did I not bring enough money? Well, you could have brought in other money. I said, oh, like a $20 million contract, first in the nation, but Pearson's going to come and put $5 million on our campus a year for 4 years. It was all about control. So I met with the chair. We had lunch. He was all hungry. I said, tomorrow's my last day. What? Oh, what? Tomorrow is my last day. But let me tell you about that again. My chairman had screamed at me on the telephone. This was actually reported to Inquiry, and they did a search. She screamed at me. I hung the phone up. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? My computer then told me I had a new email. Opened it up, and it was a friend saying, Odell, come talk to us about a job. Wow.
Yeah.
So that one didn't work out, but then the health department called me, and I went to the health department, where I was chief medical officer and then health commissioner. And then I took this job at the Interact for Health, which is a $200 million foundation that provides grants to keep our region healthy. So it never stops. This job, it kind of stopped, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Dr. Odell, I just wanted to say, you will forever, you have always and you will forever have a special place in my heart because you gave me life. I had my surgery in 95, 96, and I had a hobby here in 97. He did my tubal reversal surgery, and I have 2 sons from that. So I just want to say thank you.
Other questions?
So you've overcome poverty, you've gone on. Are there any suggestions for us who work in the community with individuals in poverty? There's a lot of community conversations going on about that.
Right. Well, I'm one of the co-chairs for the Chapel Poverty Task Force, and I'm also on the board for the preschool promise. 35 years ago, I talked about K-12 wasn't enough. I said kindergarten is not enough. We need, because in Cincinnati, only 48% of children in Cincinnati Public Schools are ready for kindergarten. What does that mean, ready? It means you can count to 10, you know your colors, and shoes. It's not a whole lot. You can learn all that by taking your kids to the grocery store and asking colors of fruits and vegetables and shapes of cans and boxes. 2 or 3 times in the store, you got paid. 52% don't. And what happens, the key is 3rd grade reading score. You see, from kindergarten to 3rd grade, you read to learn. After kindergarten, after 3rd grade, you read to learn. I'm sorry. From kindergarten to 3rd grade, you learn to read. After the 3rd grade, you read to learn. So if you can't read, you can't learn. Companies that build private prisons, one of the many factors they use to decide when coming to your town, your 3rd grade reading score. Because that predictive of dropout rate, and from dropout rate, you can calculate the crime rate. So we got to be involved. We got to raise people. But it starts back, I said years ago, with preschool, getting those kids ready so that 100% get best. Again, you have kids that went to bed last night hungry. You had kids in the bed last night crying because they were abused. You had kids in the bed last night because they're not loved, they're neglected. And when I say they went to bed, let me tell you, I've been in many homes to the corner, you still got kids in 2017 sleeping on the floor, on a chair. I went to a case where there was a rollover death, where a woman rolled over on her baby and killed her baby, but she had 3 other kids in the bed with her, and it was just a regular bed, not a queen-size bed. That's all she had. So all of us, everybody in this room's got to say, what can I do? One, teach y'all how to read. You know, if you go back to what Frederick Douglass, my favorite person is with Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, when all the new slaves were jumping up that day, we're free, we're free, we're free. Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you'll then be free. Because you know, at the end of the day, all the slaves went back to the plantation. They didn't have Uber or Lyft, no money in their pockets. They had nothing. They had to go back over to the master. They wanted to eat the next day. Once they learned to read, he was telling them, once you get educated, then you're free. But you got to first educate, you got to free your mind that you can be successful. You cannot be drawn into this thing that black people are dumb. We got to get rid of this thing that is still happening today in schools, that when a black child tries to rise and be smart, people say, oh, you're trying to be white. Where did that come from? Blacks are dumb. We got to quit pulling ourselves, pulling us back into the barrel like crabs. You got to start applauding with somebody. Just go up to somebody. You did that. That's great. I wish this people. It's okay. No. We tend to stand there. Oh, how did she do that? Look what she did. Let me tell you about it. No, come on. Let's get past that. You know, what you got to do tonight is go home, and I hope you think about things I've talked about before you go to bed tonight. I want you to look in the mirror, each and every one of you, look in the mirror yourself and say, tomorrow, I'm going to be a different person. See, I don't care who you were today or yesterday. Tomorrow, you're going to get up with confidence. Tomorrow, you're going to get up and say. Now, again, you may only have to do, you may be able to do just little steps. That's okay, as long as you're going forward. As long as you're going forward, you do little steps. Some of you can take bigger steps. Understand what you can do, and then do it. Now, I'm going to raffle off these tickets for Raising the Sun. Everybody knows that play, right? And I want you to see that, because what's that about? Why am I giving you this? Because it's a story of a grandmother who had a dream that she wanted her house, and her son who wanted his own business. And he wasn't prepared. He gave his money to the first guy that outslicked it and destroyed the family. So I'm going to give this to number 17. Oh, you get names? Oh, good.
Before he does that, before we wrap up, also, just so you all know, we also have my Basic Business t-shirts at the table in the front. Sales from that helps continue these type of workshops. So, thank you again, and we'll wrap it up for you.
Okay. I've chosen number 11. Who's number 11?
Number 11 is Deanna Garner.
That's me.
Well, again, I am so humbled that you're willing to spend money and spend a little time with me. I hope that 2 or 3 little things that you're going to remember. You ain't got to remember my name. You got to remember where I went to school. Remember none of that. Just remember I said to you, never let your past dictate your future. Let it be a part of you. Let that be your strength. I tell young people all the time, how can calculus or physics or English be hard when you can't get to school sometimes? When you've been beat, not loved, raggedy clothes. You made it. It's got to be easy. And those who are going to business, do it. But you got to, as I said, two things. Partner with someone who believes, have a plan. I want you to watch the Shark Tank to hear how they attack their business plan, how they attack it, they're prepared, what's their criticism. I want you to watch that show over and over and over. It's going to give you some insights to yourself. Align yourself with people who believe in you. Make that sacrifice. If you're not sacrificing, you're not making it. If you're not willing to sacrifice, what does that mean? Sacrifice means maybe you don't buy that coat because you put it in the business. Maybe you can't do certain things because you put it in the business. Can't go out and spend certain money, put it in the business. You're making an investment in yourself. How cheap do you view yourself? How cheap do you view yourself if you're not willing to do that? Thank you. Appreciate you.